The woods don't just test you, they teach you. And every hunter has a lesson worth learning from. Here we dig into those lessons, the hard-earned wisdom from cold mornings, close calls, and miles of boot leather. From seasoned veterans who spent a lifetime out here, to newer hunters seeing the wild with fresh eyes. Every story carries something worth passing down. I'm your host, Gage Gall, and this is the Wilderness Wise Podcast, where we honor the old school truths, embrace new perspectives, and grow into better hunters and better woodsmen together. So pull up a chair, lean in, and let the wild teach us something new. Let's get wise. All right, welcome to the Wilderness Wise Podcast, where we break down the stories, lessons, and hard-earned wisdom the outdoor teaches us. I'm your host, Gage Gall, and today I'm sitting down with Brian Hyatt, the man behind the fishing side of the brand. This episode isn't a highlights reel. It's about time on the water, slow days, problem solving, and earning the confidence one bit at a time. Welcome, Brian.
How's it going, everybody?
How's it feel to be on the podcast?
Well, it's my first one, so I'm a little nervous, but I think we'll get through it pretty well.
So before we started Wilderness Wise, what did fishing mean to you?
A lot. It actually brought me closer to friends, some family. Met one of my good buddies. Like, he pretty much taught me everything I know. So
think back to that first time. What was the first thing that pulled you towards the water?
I would almost have to say my buddy Jim. He wanted to go. I believe it was steelhead fishing at the time, and we went down to this river. And I remember pulled into the parking lot, got there, got out. I didn't have no equipment, no nothing. And he's the type of guy that's got everything for fishing, hunting, whatever it is. We got there, started fishing, and he goes, "Hey, you can use any of my poles, but you break them, you replace them." Okay. We got there, started fishing and everything, and he let me borrow one of his poles, and standing on some rocks, went to go cast out there, and the tip caught the back of the rock and snapped it in half. I felt terrible. But him being his friend as he is, he didn't really care too much about it and goes, "Hey, let's get another one. We'll continue fishing. There's more in the vehicle." And I think that was the part where I realized that there's a lot more than to do with catching fish.
Right.
And that's what kind of brought me closer. It's kind of a weird thing, but that's what kind of brought me closer to it.
So let's dig into that just a little bit. What do you mean by there's more to fishing than just catching fish?
Now it's the adventure. It's trying to figure out what the fish are doing on the river, on the lake, on the hard water. And the people out there. Like, a while back, I was fishing, and I've caught a lot of steelhead and salmon and different species of fish. And you see younger kids out there fishing, and they're just having a riot. And you go to different places and rivers and stuff, and you see a kid there, and he's not catching nothing. He's all down and out. And you hook into a fish, and you just hand the pole over because you already know what it feels like to catch fish. You know what I'm saying? That little guy or gal don't know. And to see their big smile on their face, it turns heads. And it's kind of weird to say, but it's like it's almost like, all right, cool. I caught a fish so many times. Yeah, I've caught hundreds of fish, whatever. But this young kid hasn't. And I think that's what everybody got to realize. It's not about catching fish. It's about spending time with family and friends and learning the water and stuff like that and learning your surroundings and stuff. But
yeah, and you're right, and that's kind of the basis behind the Wilderness Wise brand is to bring more people into the outdoors. And obviously part of doing that is making people more successful in the outdoors, because the more success you feel, the more apt you are to continue and stick with it.
Yeah.
So Along that line, what do you think was your first real struggle on the water?
Well, for salmon and steelhead, you got to ask a lot of questions out there. There's some fishermen that'll talk to you, and there's some that won't, but you'll have that. I think it's the most difficult thing for me to learn was learn the flow of the water, meaning the river, where you hook set, where you see your last drift, everything. For ice fishing, colors, sizes, summertime fishing, it all depends. And then for river fishing, it's for salmon and steelhead. If you're bobber fishing, you got to find the bottom, and you got to know, like if you're float fishing a river, you got to figure out what the depth of that river is, because you don't want your bobber leaning back and forth and acting all weird. You want it to be a natural flow of the river.
100%. What do you see most new anglers struggling the most with?
Using way too big of equipment. And to be honest, I'm getting that way too, and I don't know why. Where you think that you're fishing for kings and you got to have 90-pound braid on to float, and you don't. There's guys out there catching salmon and steelhead with 6 and 8 pound, and I've seen it. And it's kind of weird, but that's a big struggle for guys, because you got to know the clarity of the water. So if it's clear or dark or anything like that, you have to go on the poundage of what you have for your line. That, and I believe casting in a river. For some reason, people think you have to go real short with it, and it's not. You kind of got to lob it out there for bobber fishing and stuff like that. But it's all a learning process.
So, do you have any days where you got skunked that taught you more than you learned off the good days?
Oh yeah.
Can you think of one of those days and tell us the story and then get the lesson out of it?
I would have to say, trying to think back. More recent was, like I said, I'm a big steelhead and salmon guy, and I wanted to get on piers and do stuff like that. Pier fishing is kind of a struggle if you don't get your bait fish. So yeah, but we'll go on a side note. When you're in a boat jigging for salmon, if you don't know what you're doing, you can snag fish all day. You can't keep any of them because you're snagging fish. It's foul hooked. And that's kind of what I'm getting into to try to learn that, because there's a technique that I just ain't figured it out yet. But I would have to say that right there, because me and a buddy of mine, we went out and we're jigging, and you could, like I said, you could sit there and snag them and stuff like that, but you can't keep any of them. So you land them and stuff like that, but you got to release them. But I think that right there is like what I want to learn to figure out.
So you talked about a skill that you're working on learning. What skill took you the longest to dial in that you think now that you kind of have a pretty good grasp on?
Float fishing.
Yeah.
That took me quite a long time to learn. And it sounds goofy as it is, and whoever's listening and watching this, I would highly recommend get into inline sinkers. They are, for the simple float fisherman, it is phenomenal, because you can learn it really quick. There's other guys that their techniques are, you start with a big sinker and work all the way down to your small sinker. I think that's just too much. For one, that's a lot of stuff that you're losing in the river if you ever get snagged up. So I know the sinkers and stuff ain't real expensive, but after you lose 300-400 sinkers, kind of add up. So
right, and from a like new fisherman that's just trying like salmon or steelhead out, or even if they haven't ever fished before and they're trying it out, I mean, price point is normally a barrier to getting in? I mean, we've talked off podcast before about different equipment, and maybe we'll do a video or something to put out on the YouTube channel about like the cheapest way to go to get into salmon and steelhead. But you know, you talked a little bit about the bringing family and friends together earlier. What does fishing teach us that really carries over into like your day-to-day life?
How to talk to people. I mean, you don't know too many guys or gals that'll just walk up to a random person and just start talking. Like, there's been, because I know a lot of people seen the videos and stuff like that, and it's my first podcast, and I'm a little nervous now, and I stutter. So meeting new people, I was always scared to talk to them. But now out fishing and hunting and doing whatever else, you can go talk to a random person on the ice or on the river and have a full conversation and see what's going on. I think that helped me go through a lot.
So then you learn to talk to people on the river really well. I would say just from being with you, you've also learned a level of patience and discipline to show up time and time again, even when fishing is slow and when it's rough on the river. What is there like a certain headspace that you go to continue showing up on the water like that, or is it just the love of the sport, or how do you bring yourself to stand out there in snowstorms and rain and different adverse conditions to continue fishing even though you may not be catching anything?
You have to love what you do. Like, that's all there is to it. Like, if you don't like it, there's no sense of sitting out there freezing your butt off and your toes and feet and everything and hands. If you have to find some enjoyment of it. And I think if, like, it can be 10 below outside and you're sitting out there and you're not catching any panfish or whatever, there's always that buddy you can talk to, conversation with. Even kids and family. Like, I got a son. Haven't been out on the water with him yet, and I really want to, because I want that, because I didn't have that. I like the struggle, I guess you can say. I kind of want to figure it out myself, and I guess if I don't, I think that's what brings me back to it, because every day is different. You're never going to catch the fish in the same spot. You know, they're not going to be there the following day. So yeah, I would have to say the struggle of it, because I want to figure out the problem. So it's more of a problem-solving thing for me, I guess.
Gotcha. And what do you think separates a very consistently successful angler from a lucky one? I mean, there is a level of luck sometimes, but
yeah, and I don't know too much about the whole luck thing, but I think the one that's constantly going back, you're going to end up catching something, and you're slowly going to learn more. So I think if you're persistent and keep on going back, you're going to find stuff and going to catch stuff and stuff like that. But you do get quite a few luck stories. You know, there's some out there where, like, I've been bass fishing with a buddy, and he's hammered bass and does really well. And there's actually a guy in Michigan here that caught one of the biggest largemouths, and he's an older gentleman, and he caught it off a night crawler, and we're sitting out here buying really expensive baits and doing everything. So I guess there is some kind of luck to it, yeah, but mostly I think it's persistence and figuring out your problems to figure it out on the water, river, lake, ice. It doesn't matter.
So for you, fishing now is a little bit bigger than just fishing. You've ended up moving into kind of being the teacher for this side of the fishing side of this brand.
Yeah.
What made you want to move from catching your stuff yourself, maybe handing the pole off to a kid, to being able to teach, hopefully, the masses how to catch fish?
I would have to say the person that taught me. I mean, that's That's kind and it's because of that's kind of the way he taught me. And when I say he, I mean Jim. He's always been that kind-hearted dude that always wants to teach somebody, and I guess that's where I picked it up from. And I guess when you start to catch more steelhead, more salmon, and hunting and everything and whatever else, you always want to find that more enjoyment of it. And I guess teaching and still kind of learning on different stuff, but I think teaching is going to put me in a different direction where I can help that certain somebody that's struggling, that's never done it, that's never been out there and actually wanted to do it. So I guess it's just because I've seen it, and it's just kind of follow the same path, I guess.
Now, there is a certain responsibility that comes with teaching others, right? I mean, you can mislead somebody, whether you do it intentionally or on accident. Yeah. So what responsibility do you feel comes with being somebody that's willing to teach other people?
There's a certain way you should teach different people, but if they're willing to learn, that's also a good thing. But I'm not sure how to answer that, because for say you do teach somebody and you show them everything that you do and they don't catch anything that day, and you don't know if they want to come back to try it again. So I guess it's the willingness of learning, I guess. And
yeah,
you got to have the passion for it. So it kind of builds up over time of having it. So I'm not quite sure how to answer that one.
So then how do you hook somebody that is not catching anything? How do you keep them coming back for more until they become successful?
Well, for river fishing, I guess it would be somebody else catching something and he sees the thrill of that other person catches something and that person wants that thrill. Something like that, or the adventure, or just hanging out with friends in general. Kind of stumped on that. I don't really know how to. That's a pretty good question. Because I do enjoy teaching and showing people other stuff, but it's not like I'm gonna sit there in a classroom and teach them. So it's kind of always on the go. So
from my side, the thing that I find always seems to help is your enthusiasm for the sport.
Okay.
That's what I've always found, that if I'm super enthusiastic about the sport,
right,
whether I'm teaching somebody hunting or anything like that, if I'm enthusiastic about it, they tend to pick up on that enthusiasm, and then they tend to stick with it a little bit better.
Yeah, I could, yeah.
So are there any standards you refuse to compromise on when you're fishing or on the water or anything like that?
I would say how the day is. Like for ice fishing, I am not going to go out on the ice, and if it's dangerous or if the pressure's crappy.
What about salmon, steelhead?
The water's way too high and running fast. You can't really do anything.
So you'd say safety is probably one of those standards that you refuse to compromise?
Yeah. Safety, and probably just safety pretty much, because I love to fish, so I'll pretty much fish out on anything.
Yeah.
As long as it's safe to do so.
And legality and all that stuff. Yeah. Sticking with it. I've fished with you enough to know that you're not out there trying to snag salmon just for the heck of it.
There's a lot of people. So there's a small group of people. I wouldn't say real small. There's quite a few people in the salmon fishing places all over. You get your snaggers, and you get the other guys that actually get a clean hook set. It's not in the back of the head or bottom of the fish here, or any of that. It's in the corner of the mouth, top of the mouth, whatever. So I guess like foul hooking and stuff like that, I'm highly against. Like, I will not be part of that whatsoever. So the legal stuff, yeah, I draw a line there.
Okay.
I understand accidents happen, but That's when you release the fish or whatever. But
So this brand is all about passing it on to the next generation, and for the viewers on there, the next generation doesn't mean that you're 10, 12, that you can be 67 years old and it's your first time fishing. You can be 40 years old and it's your first time going out after any animal, any game species. But for you, what advice would you give to somebody that's just starting their fishing career?
be patient. Be patient and take as much as people's going to teach you. Soak it in like a sponge. Because there's going to be stressful days out there where you don't catch anything. And it's like, before I even got into ice fishing, I was always told that like ice fishing is like watching paint dry on a wall. It's just boring. So you got to be patient with stuff. So first time fisherman, I would say, you're really wanting to get into it, be patient. Go out there for the adventure. Go out there and learn more stuff. Ask as many questions as you can. And it could be Joe Blow off the street that's sitting there fishing. It doesn't matter. That same guy still gonna know something. Even if he's new too, he's gonna know one more thing than you that you could pick up. Like, I fish a lot. I steelhead, salmon fish a lot. But there's always that one person that knows a little bit more than me. And so technically, I guess you're never not stop learning. You're always going to learn on the rivers or lakes, whatever. But for new ones, I would say be a sponge.
We talked a little bit about you learning how to jig salmon. That's something that you're still chasing. Is there anything that else other than just jigging salmon you're still chasing or trying to improve your tactics on?
Throwing a cast net. I'm telling you right now, and it sounds goofy because I don't know if I can say that word on here, but I will blank it out. I absolutely suck at throwing a cast net for fishing on the pier to catch your bait fish. I can't do it. I don't know what it is. I can't do it. I don't know if it's my T-Rex arms that I got. It's just not happening. I go to throw it out there and it is in a ball. I don't know. I've had so many guys out there showing me and giving me pointers, and I just can't do it. So I shouldn't say can't, but in my head it's something stupid and small, but it's like I just can't figure it out. I've watched so many YouTube videos. I've talked to so many people on the water about it, and I've came close one time, and I'll never forget this story because I dropped the guy's cast net in the water and I had to fish it out. I felt terrible. It was kind of dumb on my part. So on a cast net, you got a long rope, and I did not loop it around my wrist. And he was an older guy, and he goes, "Hey, I'll show you." Okay, cool. He showed me. I did the same exact thing what he did, but he was also like 6'5", and with long arms is what I think you have to throw a cast net. I don't know. Personally, I just can't do it, and I don't know what it is. I guess it's going to take more practice, like out in the front yard or something like that, But, yeah, I think throwing a cast net, and it sounds goofy, but instead of taking a meat rig or a bait rig, whatever anybody wants to call it, to catch alewives for your bait fish, you're only catching like maybe one or two at a time. You throw a cast net out there, you can catch 50 to 25, so much quicker, so much easier, and you got enough bait.
So let's do some little rapid fire, all right?
Oh, here we go. All right.
So just first thing that pops into your head when I ask the question, all right?
All right.
So favorite fish, salmon or steelhead?
Steelhead.
Favorite way to catch them?
Floating.
Spinning reel, bait casting reel?
Ooh, that's a hard one because I don't really know yet, because I can't really rapid that one off yet because I just got a new bait caster this year, and I haven't tried it out yet. So, so right now I would say spinning rod because I don't quite know yet.
Ice fishing, heated shanty or out hole hopping?
Oh, hole hopping, 100%. I am that dummy sitting out there in the blizzard. I don't know what it is. I would rather be hole hopping.
Okay. Panfish or pike?
Oh, panfish.
Panfish or walleye?
I would say walleye. Yeah. There's been some times going on out on the Saginaw Bay that's pretty intense. And I like the adventure, so yeah, walleye.
Gotcha. What is one fish, if you had to spend the rest of your life catching it, what would you pick?
Steelhead.
Okay.
For some reason, I love chasing them.
Is there any particular fish that you want to go on and try to catch, like a trip or whatever?
I've always wanted to catch a grouper. I don't know what it is. I guess it's because they're just behemoths. And, so yeah, I would want to go catch grouper.
Okay. Well, that wraps it up for this episode of the podcast. Brian, thank you for breaking down the reality behind fishing, the grind, the patience, and the payoff. To everybody listening, whether you're brand new or seasoned, the water rewards those who are willing to learn. If this episode helped you, follow the show, share it, and we'll see you again next time. Until next time, stay wild, stay sharp, and stay wise. We'll catch you guys next time.